Why is it so hard to just be here now? You've probably heard those words sometime in your life. Be here now. That was originally coined by Ram Dass, aka Richard Alpert, who was a Harvard professor, along with Timothy Leary, who both took LSD and decided that they'd much rather drop acid and talk about philosophy than be professors. There was a little bit of controversy back then about, before the drugs were illegal, and it was a bad look for the college. But these guys continued to push the envelope and try to learn more about themselves and the universe through the use of these psychedelic compounds. And Ram Dass wrote a book called Be Here Now. It's actually a collection of kind of little quotes and quips and pictures. It's really well done. I mean, all the, it's not like typeset. It's somebody wrote it and then copied the pages. It's all handwritten, but it's really a great book. And if I'd read it when I was 20, I probably wouldn't have gained as much from it. I finally read it last year sometime, all the way through, and it's not the kind of book where it tells a story. You can flip to any page and they're all unique. But some of the quotes in there and some of the, the little stories are only understandable if you've had certain experiences. And I'm not talking about just a psychedelic experience, but a connection of awareness or gnosis or, an epiphany, something like that, where you start to understand that things operate on a level beyond our comprehension. That even though this may be an illusion, we're still in it. We are still us. A lot of people try to kind of pass the buck on spirituality by saying, oh, well, this is all just a dream and we're not really here and so nothing matters. Nonsense. If we're here, it matters. Even if there is another realm, whether it's a literal biblical heaven or some spiritual advancement to different levels, which is what I believe. And these levels aren't about superiority, but rather that there's always a hierarchy in nature. And eventually it recycles itself. Consider the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail. This is what climbing the ladder really is. You think about it on a human level. Think about the levels of, humans as far as their power, and you get to the top and you realize all you ever really wanted was to sit by the river and talk about life, Or, the person at the bottom who's wishing he could climb to the top. Nobody's ever satisfied where they're at. It's always, could be better, could be better. And it's such a bad way to think, because that's the whole philosophy of Be Here Now. Not to worry about what could be, not to worry about what was, but what is. And it's a balance. It's a balancing act. You have to be able to also be concerned about your immediate future, obviously. I mean, it seems like that would go without saying, but if you talk to people about just living in the moment, they seem to have this illusion that it just means you don't care about anything. And that's nonsense. First of all, you can't stop yourself from mourning the past. I got up this morning actually and I put on Beck, one of his albums. It's a Morning Phase, it's the album. It's really mellow acoustics. And this song came on, Goodbye, and I just started crying. It's like I just got up and I'm crying. I was thinking about my mom and dad and losing my parents and losing loved ones and just the pains of life. But those don't go away. We just kind of push them down, and that's okay too. We can't just sit and cry about everything all the time. But that's always there with us. Just the same way that looking towards the future, no matter how much we pretend we're not, we are. Every decision we make, is going to affect tomorrow. So for me, sitting here at the park, knowing that I would like to just stay here all day, I have to actually go work. And I'm forcing myself to go work because if I don't, then I'll feel guilty about it. So that's why whether you live in the now or not, living in the now, you can still get that information from your body and your mind about what you should be doing, right? You don't need to think about it. You just feel it. You know what's right and wrong. Every one of us knows what it's like when we've had a really good day or a week even, maybe a year if you're lucky, and everything just goes your way. You're climbing up whatever ladders you feel you need to climb up. I mean, it's not about making more or getting more, but for some people, it's about achieving more, always feeling like we're stepping into a new pair of shoes. And I concur. I think that that's important for people. But I think it just comes naturally, kind of. And some of the people who want to climb the highest and the fastest are often missing some very important inner dialogues about what it means to be human. If we're chasing contentedness through stuff, if we're chasing contentedness through, experiences, I mean, if that works for you, that's great, but they are temporary. I prefer experiences over stuff. Experiences you remember. Stuff is just stuff. And, but it doesn't mean I don't like stuff. I got a huge record collection. I like stereos. I like gadgets, And this comes down to another kind of Buddhist philosophy, which is, non-attachment. And one of the greatest bits of wisdom I've ever heard about attachment is don't become attached to non-attachment. Yeah, it's really a mind-numbing, thought experiment. Like, okay, you can let go of wanting anything, but if that becomes who you are, then you want to not want things. It's great. So just follow your heart, but allow your heart to be directed by the right processes. It takes a little bit of knowledge, understanding, not just, letting the world push us around. It's that old thing. If you don't live your life will live itself for you. And I will admit that a lot of my life has been written by circumstance. I'm not going to say I'm a guy who's sat here and always chosen what I want to do and who I am and always lived in the light. Hell no, not even close. I'm just a human being trying to navigate it. And even though I've had the hard times, it just makes the good times so much better. And that comes down to the balance and perception. And also to remember that everything comes down to alchemy. You need to be able to turn all those leaded, weighted thoughts into gold. And the more you practice it, the better you become. You will become far more proficient at looking at the silver lining in every situation. I promise. But you have to train yourself. Made myself a little log by the cedar tree so I could sit there, and I think that'll be my new meditation spot. It's very relaxing, calm. I like it. I'm going through a lot of mental changes right now. You would think people say they're stuck in their ways as they get older, and that's not true at all. Because if you're constantly learning, if you've shut yourself off to learning, then yes, you will be stuck in your ways. But if you take the time to try to learn something, learn new things about the world, then it's a different story. Well, I suppose it's time to go now. As I'm turning 50 next week, I guess I've had a lot of thoughts on my mind about time, about purpose, about the things we want to accomplish in this world, and going with God. It's something that even 10, 15 years ago, I would have just kind of cringed at that term, you know? Why does everybody have to go to God? Because it's not somebody else's God, it's my God. It's my version of God. It's the God that I have come to understand. The God that encompasses everything around us. But the most beautiful part is I have nothing to justify, nothing to explain. I am 100% certain that I am a spiritual being in a physical body. And even though I know that, even though I feel it in the bones, feel it in the depth of my soul, and I've experienced it directly, gone through these crazy experiences that I've sought out, and had these just amazing moments of complete understanding about what I need to know, but realizing that none of it matters. That what matters is to be here now, right now, in this moment. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I wish you the best. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope that you are able to overcome whatever demons you need to overcome, but at the same time, to see the silver lining in the lessons that those demons have taught us. You can call them whatever you want. Demons, daemons, archons, it doesn't matter. The terminology doesn't matter. We all know what it means. The darkness. Fight the darkness. Don't let it consume you. But also embrace it, because it's part of who we are. Adios.